What's going on, y'all? I'm your host, Paco, and you're listening to Occupy the Media. We're going into the second week of this show. We're just going to keep it going. I know it's bright and early over here in sunny California, but got the coffee, the tea, whatever you need, the water to get you up. Just want to let you know that we do have three special guests coming up later. I'll be speaking with Paul Trask, Mark Jones, and Aaron Chandler. All three of them will be on here with us talking about the Jackson County caucus in Kansas City, Missouri, and how that went down and their strategy for Ron Paul to win and get the most delegates. So that should be great. So let's go and jump into some news. It looks like here, headline, Ron Paul breaks another record with 6,200 people attending a town hall in California. This is on April 3rd, examiner.com. It says 2012 Republican presidential candidate Ron Paul drew a remarkable 6,200 plus voters to the first of three town hall meetings he is holding in California this week, continuing his pattern of attracting large crowds of voters eager to hear his platform of constitutionally limited government and restoring economic and civil liberties. So 6,200 people. We keep breaking the record. I was looking at some other headlines, some other articles about this same thing, and they were saying there was hundreds of people that showed up, a couple thousand. So, they always try to make it seem less than what it is. Who knows? It might have been even more than 6,200.
The race for the White House makes a stop in Chico tonight. Good evening, I'm Debbie Cobb. Elizabeth is off tonight. Thousands show up on the Chico State campus to listen to Republican presidential candidate Ron Paul at his town hall meeting on campus tonight. The masses for about a half an hour, covering most of his political standpoints. Paul is intent on reducing the size of government, returning to a free market system, and bringing home all the troops, all in an effort, he says, to preserve liberty and promote peace.
It's the only role the government should have. A strong national defense, a court system, protecting property rights, give us sound money, don't counterfeit the money, protect contracts, and they do the opposite.
Basically, the policy of peace. He's opposed to foreign wars. He's opposed to going to war without a declaration of war.
The Chico State Republicans have been working to bring Paul to the campus since the start of the semester. The group says he's the one candidate that's bold enough to advocate for his sometimes unpopular policies. Currently last in the nominee race, Paul says he plans on staying in it until the convention in August. Paul is headed to UCLA tomorrow, then on to UC Berkeley on Thursday.
That's right. And I'll be at UCLA today. That's actually today, tonight. I think it's around 8:30. We're trying to be there real early, though, get set up. Want to get a lot of people registered if possible. So I can't wait for that. And hopefully, I'll let you know tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll break the record here at UCLA. Now, in other news or in other headlines, also at the examiner.com, we have headline Ron Paul winning delegates. I encourage everybody to go check this article out. It's really great. I'm going to read some of it for you. I think it got some great information going over the delegates, and also has a lot of links to delegate information for various states at the bottom beneath the article. Again, that's at examiner.com. Says here, although the numbers vary slightly depending on which mainstream source used, currently the establishment's media is displaying the approximate totals, as Romney leading with around 550 delegates, Santorum with around 240, Gingrich around 130, and Ron Paul trailing the pack with usually less than 50, which sounds ridiculous. Got more than 50 in probably one county. Although the media says they estimate the delegate count as proportionate to the percentages of votes won in each caucus, of Iowa's 25 available delegate seats, even as Santorum, Romney, and Paul basically split the votes, they're relatively evenly. Somehow the media's estimated delegate count shows Santorum as winning 13 delegates and Romney winning the other 12, as if Paul received no votes whatsoever. Exactly. You got to keep the perception going that he can't win. Let's see. With that being said, if taking percentages of caucus votes into account to determine the estimated final delegate totals, the media's general delegate estimate is already faulty after just the first caucus. Exactly, because the percentages or what people are getting or voting doesn't matter when it comes to the delegates, at least the majority of the states. Now, let's see, also goes on to say, even though you haven't heard much about it in the media, in all the caucus states around the country, Ron Paul's delegate strategy is actually paying off, as county after county and district after district are sending more Ron Paul delegates to state conventions than any other candidate. Additionally, as these county and district conventions continue to unfold, it is becoming widely evident that Ron Paul supporters have been the most educated on this process and also seem to be the most dedicated thus far. Just like last time we were the most educated about the process and this time. And it's just going to be even worse because we keep growing and getting bigger and getting more delegates. Let's see here. Keep on going. Thousands of Paul delegate hopefuls have been overrunning county and district conventions all over the country. In turn, it has been mostly Paul delegates that continue to move on to the next successive convention to this point. Unless GOP party officials from those precinct, county, or district conventions purposely try to illegally force Paul supporters from participating. And it says, unfortunately, that is something that has happened in quite a few locations around the country. That's right, and we got it on tape. We're going to continue to get it on tape, and we're going to continue to bring people up here to let them know, tell their story about how the GOP is trying to rig the whole process. Let's see. Also, even in some of the primary states like Virginia and Oklahoma, there are portions of delegate seats available that are not bound to the original election and are open to any candidate that made the original ballot. These delegate seats will be apportioned in separate elections, much like the caucus states. So let's see. So basically, even if he loses like he did in Virginia and I think in Oklahoma, he can still get the most of the delegates. And that's what they don't want you to know. That's what they don't want to talk about. They made the rules for themselves to help them out, and they messed up. It's going to help us out now. Let's see. Some in the GOP have shuddered at the fact that Ron Paul supporters have done their homework and decided to go out en masse to attempt forcing their candidate into the Republican nomination and have tried to do everything they can to stop them from doing so. The problem with that is Ron Paul's delegate hopefuls have truly done their homework, know the laws, GOP laws, and are following them by the book, something the other candidate supporters aren't doing. This forces anyone trying to stop them to break the rules to do so. Exactly. The people that's supposed to be enforcing the rules don't even know the rules. And if they do, they're breaking them themselves. But like I said, we got it on camera so we can expose it and show all the Ron Paul supporters and the voters out there, let them know they're trying to rig it. The problem the establishment is having with even that scenario is that so many legal Paul delegate hopefuls have decided to participate this time that the establishment doesn't have the organization in place to cover the incredible amount of locations being overrun by Paul supporters. And in turn, Paul delegates are winning the majority of the caucus state delegates in many of those states anyways. That's right. We're just going to come run it all. And we'll be back. It's Occupy the Media. I'm Paco.